My name is Cliff Lungaretti. I will be your host today. I'm part of the Talks at Google program. Thank you for joining us. And Pat, let's jump right into it. We've seen the effect you've had on the world in the past 12 months. So how did this all start? How did you get diagnosed? What was your first symptom?
I'm a young man, so it was a long road to diagnosis for me. I always start with, it goes back to the summer of 2013. Actually, I'm sorry, summer of 2011. And we were playing in a softball tournament all day. I always like to say we won the softball tournament, so it was a good day. And the next morning, I woke up and my left arm, it was twitching. So in my head, it was a long day and there was a lot of fatigue, so I just didn't think twice. And a few weeks later, now my left arm was still twitching and I had a little movement in my right. So I figured there's a problem here, something's going on that wasn't related to this softball tournament. So like any kid whose mother was a nurse, I went to my mom and she freaks out. So even when nothing really was wrong, the nurse instinct kicked in. We went right to a local neurologist who could only really think, it's a twitch, it's benign fasciculations, which is just a big word for twitching. And we went back 2 weeks later because, hey, listen, these twitches haven't stopped, so you gotta figure something else out. We gotta do more tests. And the way he saw was I was way too young to have a neurological disease. But thankfully, he wouldn't just let me go. He decided, you know what, this might be a bigger case than I could handle, and sent me to Hospital for Special Surgery down here in Manhattan to see the doctor who taught him. So by the time you got down there, you're a little nervous, but not too much. I mean, I'm lucky in one regard, my progression is a little slow, and because of that, my diagnosis took a long time. But that was also very tough because for a long time, you don't know what's wrong with you, and you're just going to doctor appointment after doctor appointment. And we get to these big time doctors, they pretty much run you through the mill. At first it's blood tests, negative. You go for MRIs and CAT scans. There's nothing popping up. And then you have to go further. So the next step is a spinal tap, which I hope none of you ever have to do because the headache the next day was brutal. But again, negative, nothing happened. And there's a million other tests I went through. It all led to eventually trying a muscle nerve biopsy. So I had to get a surgery. Went on there, and again, negative. There's nothing wrong with you, almost, right? But I was still getting weaker, and nothing was confirmed yet. So as this time passed, it was about a 2-year time frame. The last hope is we were hoping it was a case of multifocal motor neuropathy, which is a case of something that mimics ALS, but there is a treatment. And the treatment is called IVIG. And what you do is I went in the hospital a week straight and they just pumped me full of this stuff for 8 hours a day. And before you know it, you're just zonked out, you're out cold. Every day you wake up, pump you back. And after that week, I don't know why, but there was some hope that it didn't get worse. So maybe we're gonna get lucky here. But we went back into it one last time, a biweekly IVIG, and my symptoms were still progressing. So at that point, we were leaning towards motor neuron disease, ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, but I just don't know why we didn't find out directly there. We ended up going, one day I went up to Johns Hopkins in Baltimore, pretty much ran every test that I had previously done, except the spinal tap and the surgery, thank God. And that day, they were able to conclusively tell me that we will diagnose you with ALS.
And when was that?
That was March 13th, 2013.
It's almost 2
March
years.
8th, 2013.
It's almost 2 years after the softball tournament?
Oh, just about, yeah.
Wow.
Almost. I'm saying my buddy Pete Frady's diagnosis was March 13th, 2012. I was March 8th, 2013. Too close, but.
And you and Pete are credited with starting this legitimate worldwide phenomenon. So why ice?
It was hot. No, I mean, we got lucky. I really like to say that the Ice Bucket Challenge story, it didn't start last summer. It started way before that. Because I know everything in life doesn't happen for a reason, but I truly believe a lot does. And you meet people at certain times in your life for a reason. And after I was diagnosed, shortly after, I went on Google, and young ALS patients, and P3 is what popped up. And I said, what the hell, let me give this guy a shout and see if he responds. What do I have to lose, right? So I sent him an email. We were on our way up, me and my wife, girlfriend at the time, and we were on our way to Boston anyway. So I sent him an email, because she kept pushing me too. Thank you, wherever you are. And he answered. So after our trip to Boston, we went to, I don't know, Mass that well, but another town. We got to meet Pete in a restaurant, and we just hit it off. And he was really good to me, really supportive, and was all about helping me. And that meant a lot. I needed that support at the time, because I knew I wanted to be proactive. I'm young, I'm energetic, I like to be out there. And like I said before, my progression's pretty slow, so I feel I'll have a long fight where I could be a voice for patients that progression is a lot more rapid, because with ALS, people are usually in wheelchairs by now, in my case, or lost their voice. I mean, my voice is a little weaker, but I'm still here talking, so I'm very lucky in the whole scheme of ALS. And that day, it was pretty much an open book. He just said, ask me what you want to know. This thing isn't easy, so ask now, and let's get this thing going. Let's create awareness. And I think ever since then, me, my wife, my family, friends, we started Quinn for the Win, a small organization in Yonkers, and we're doing prototypical stuff like 3-on-3 basketball tournaments, golf outings. I'm sure you can tell I'm Irish. We went to bars and we had Irish music, and people get fired up and donate more. I'm telling you, it's true. But so we did that a bunch of times, and the awareness was, we were out there. I was on the news a bunch locally in New York for my area, but it wasn't good enough. So we kept going, and thank God a golfer in Florida sent up an ice bucket over his head and said, this is for ALS. And the connection is I was linked to their network. So I picked up on it right after they started getting it going. And like I said, you meet people and you're connected to people, all for a reason. Not everything, but a lot. And I feel the challenge happened a town over from me, because I was meant to pick this thing up and build it and get the momentum going. And because I have made acquaintances, now friends, now even more now good friends with Pete, we have mutual friends. They have BC grads that have come down and work in Manhattan. A friend of mine, a good friend of his, Tim Holden, after Quinn for the Win got Yonkers involved and a lot more places getting the bucket challenge going, this friend of mine, good friend of his, I said that twice, but Tim Holden, thank you, buddy, put a Quinn for the Win shirt on and BC shorts, and that was it. It connected New York to Boston. And
Which is all you really need.
That was it.
Yeah.
New York was getting big. Boston got incredibly big, super fast, and because of BC connections, he played baseball. Athletes started doing it. Once the pro athletes got involved, I think it was Matt Ryan, Julian Edelman, Boston guys. Can't hate them. I like them now because of what they did. But they got more people involved with names that people recognize. So athletes were doing it. Before you knew it, actors, actresses, people that were in the media that could really create that awareness we were looking for were building. And every day you would see numbers increasing. You will wake up and say, who did it yesterday? Who did it last night? And it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and the numbers, like, speak for themselves now. I mean,
out of everyone that did it, who are you most like, oh my God, that guy did this?
I get that a lot, and
is there anybody that you're just like, oh man?
I wish I had a better answer. I know a lot of people like Bill Gates because he's huge, and I think, well, I'm not a big LeBron James fan, but he's one of the best athletes in the world. He did it. Leonardo DiCaprio is as big of an actor. He did it. I can't think of someone who didn't do it. So,
show of hands. Anybody here not do the Ice Bucket Challenge in 2014? No, we got the whole room. So.
Yeah. And it's not worth getting picky because every challenge, no matter how big or small, was doing what we originally set out to do, which was create awareness. And the money coming in was just completely unexpected.
Well, that was the thing that I know when it first started, there was a lot of like backlash of like the internet of like, oh, people are putting ice in their head, but who's actually donating money? But actually, fundraising spiked last August during this entire process.
Incredibly. I mean, the grand total is 220 million globally, which ALS has never seen before. I mean, their budget grew by leaps and bounds, and because of what happened last year, there's a lot more research going on. There's a lot more patient services. I know of a precision medicine program in Boston that went from a handful of patients allowed to be involved to over 100, approaching 300 now. The value in what happened will never be matched. It was something that started the New York Genome Center right down the block got a grant that opened up more genetic study for ALS, which people feel could be where a breakthrough comes. And there's more and more stuff. I don't want to get too technical because I'm not, but the science is there now. There's doctors that see the value and the money coming in and want to help now. So the brightest minds need to be working on this because ALS is very difficult. It's a disease that is so different in every individual that it's not like other diseases where you just focus in on one thing. It's just, for example, my progression is a little slower than others. I'm walking. There's people that die in the time frame I've been diagnosed with ALS. So it's very difficult, and I understand that because there hasn't been a breakthrough. In Lou Gehrig gave his farewell speech from baseball over 75 years ago. It's his birthday actually today. Happy birthday,
it is
Lou.
his birthday, yeah.
And last time I spoke with Ryan from Google, it was Lou Gehrig's last game, and today it was Lou Gehrig's birthday. So I thought there was meaning in that, but where were I?
Oh, actually, one of the things I wanted to bring up is basically 2015, like where do you go here? You were honored at the Webbies with a
cool.
Special Achievement Award by one Dave Grohl, I believe, and you had, of course, 5 words. So if you could tell everyone your 5-word speech.
Every August until a cure. And we're really riding that right now because, like I stated before, the Ice Bucket Challenge was a great start to a lot of stuff. By no means is there a treatment or a cure yet, so I know the public perception may be, what do they need more money for? I mean, they raised 115 million in the U.S., 220 globally. It's because nothing's happened yet. Things are just getting started. Like I said, the research is flowing out. It was a great building block, but nothing's ended. I get weaker every day. Every couple months I could notice something pretty significant. My arms are very weak right now. So I'm here talking because I want more people to know. The awareness has to continue because there will be a breakthrough. It'll happen eventually, whether in my lifetime or not. We're gonna fight for it every day. And the best way to do that is the Ice Bucket Challenge we learned last summer. And regardless of the magnitude this year, it has to happen again because of what happened last year. No matter how big or small, it will be significant to the ALS community because more money will come in than any other time the rest of the year. So although I feel it will be very successful and I have goals in my head of bigger than last year, which people may think crazy, but go big or go home. You gotta think big to make a difference. And
So every August we can expect to throw ice in our heads again.
until we figure something out,
All right.
every August.
I know I have some coworkers here who are hoping to see me get dosed with ice today. We're going to wait till August. Still too
I got
early.
you off the hook today.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah. Just if anyone would like to ask any questions, we have 2 microphones in the aisles. I'll call on you if you want to come up. No pressure, but they are there if you want to talk to Pat about anything. But yeah, so the Webbies, and then that led to August. And this is me trying to find my own train of thought here.
No, it's all right. I mean, what happened since last summer has been nuts. I mean, I've grown to enjoy being in front of people talking about this. When I was in school, I didn't want to get called on anything. So the way I always explain it is I have a real passion for what I'm doing now.
Well, May was ALS Awareness Month, correct? So you
Yeah.
talked all over
Yeah,
the place
yeah.
lately.
I'm pumping myself here, but whatever. I did a satellite
Floor's yours.
media tour, and I just sat in front of a camera for 5 hours and just did a local news broadcast after local news broadcast, radio, for the whole morning. And the next day, I was getting feedback from all over the country of how interested they were in my story and how they want to know what we're doing next. And that's why I'm here. You just keep building on the momentum we created last summer, and something's going to happen. Things change, and we're trying to make that change now.
Good.
And seriously, I mean, there's a lot of people here. Don't hesitate to ask. I know someone has to break the ice. I didn't mean that because of that. But,
Yeah, you did.
but I mean, I have a unique story. I know I'm young for what I have, so there's something in your head, please do ask. I'm very open. I'm confident in what's going on, so don't feel weird asking anything.
Brian?
I don't know if I'm allowed to ask first, but
Sure.
you know, when you said that Bill Gates did the Ice Bucket Challenge, I was thinking about this year. Even if you couldn't get millions of people to do the Ice Bucket Challenge, if you could get more Bill Gates and Larry Pages and Mark Zuckerbergs, who would, even if they don't do the challenge, they also have very, very deep pockets. Because we see, and how do we get more Bill Gates to get involved with ALS? And I don't know if that's something that you and your team have thought about. And it's not only that, but I also think, even if it's not resources, you think of all these conditions that, things like hepatitis C, which used to, now there's treatment that actually can solve that in 12 weeks. And all these other conditions that are out there. And that if we can just get enough resources, enough money, or even brain power, there's some very smart people in this room. And who knows what they can be doing to help. So have you thought about that outside of just simply getting a lot of people to do the Ice Bucket Challenge? how can we get like some big hitters like the Bill Gates involved?
We always think about that because you want to think from the top down, but I feel the more awareness you create from any level will draw attention from the biggest names. It did last year, and engaging them early on this year is a priority. I know once we start kicking things off, people will start to recognize it as long as we get the media going again. And I mean, Bill Gates put some real thought into his. He created a whole device that poured the ice bucket, and hopefully you're thinking right now, Bill, because we need another one like that. But that's a great question. I mean, in my head, in my network, we're out there now, and we're connecting with everyone that will. And as long as they're open to doing it again, we're going to be there for them. But we're just going to build on it as much as we can and then go from there. And like you said, there's breakthroughs in diseases all the time. And with ALS, there hasn't been in a long time. It's an orphan disease. They say approximately 30,000 people in the U.S. have it at any given time. But there's real facts that keep patients' voices down. One in particular that will really grab your attention is every 90 minutes there's a patient diagnosed, but every 90 minutes another patient dies of ALS. Thanks, Jason. But it's a disease that takes people as quickly as they diagnose them, so the voices don't last long. And I think I mentioned that earlier, that with I don't like to say my progression's slower because my arms are weak. I can't use them. And I don't think it's fair to say someone has fast or slow progression because the disease stinks regardless. But I'm here talking to you after 2 years, and I feel not obligated, but it's my job to be here for others that can't.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Pat, thanks so much for being with us today. Your story is beyond inspirational. I actually have 3 questions. I hope that's okay. I'm going to bundle them all together and just fire them away, answer them whatever order you prefer. First, you mentioned this golfer is actually the first one who poured it over his head. I'm curious if you know what catalyzed him to do something really bizarre that ended up trickling into a worldwide phenomenon. Number 2 is every August until a cure. Is there anything that you want to see different in 2015 that did not happen last year, or either a new spin on the challenge or a new goal or new, just ideas that would be different than last year? And lastly, have you considered celebrity endorsements such as Vanilla Ice, Ice Cube, or Ice Tea? Just throwing that out there.
I'll start with the last one. If you guys know any way of getting in touch with them, I'd love that. That's great.
Well, now we know the 3 people to challenge.
Yeah. The first one, the guy Chris, the reason why he did it was his cousin's husband had ALS, and he sent it up to New York in Pelham, which is right next door to where I'm from in Yonkers. And like I said, everything connected so perfectly that it's almost eerie. Like, the way it all happened, it was meant to happen. And it's really going to be the start of the end of this disease. Because of what happened last summer, more money has come in to support our cause than ever. And there's stuff happening now. People have hope in the community. Like I said, I'm young, I'm out there, I like to have fun, so I'm proactive. I don't mind telling my story. I mean, the first couple weeks after diagnosis, where do you go? What do you do? How do you tell people? You cry a lot. It's not easy. But you break through that mold and you come out a stronger person. And ever since then, I've been out there, put my voice out there, let people see me. Because people need to know it's a disease that doesn't discriminate. I'm a young man. Most people think it's an old person's disease, which is a misconception. Anybody can get this disease. There's more and more patients since the Ice Bucket Challenge that are willing to talk about their condition. It's not as rare, so they're open to going out and building support. And not only does that help their local community and their comfort level, but it builds more awareness. And I always like to say the awareness leads to the funding, and the funding leads to the research. Without the three, nothing happens.
Excellent. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Hey, thanks for coming. Very inspirational. I'm picturing pouring ice on my head in August. That's a great idea. One thing I'm thinking is as I pass it out through my network, people are going to say, why again? Is there a site that I could link to in my social media pages that says, this $220 million that we raised last August did these wonderful things? That's just the tip of the iceberg. Here's where we're going from now, right?
The ice
And,
references don't get old.
Right? That just came out.
Yeah.
So something that sums it up quickly to say, here it is. Here's what we accomplished. Here's where we're going. Does that exist?
I believe there's a few infographics. The ALS Association has one on their site. I think ALS TDI has one on theirs as well. I mean, I could explain a little. I read a lot about it. The Ice Bucket Challenge through the association has started 5 new research programs. One is Project Mind, which is genetics-based. They funded the New York Genome Center, which is also genetic-based and involved in genome sequencing. What else was there? The Genome Center, Project Mind. That's not a lie. I guess I didn't know as much as I had. But they started 5 new ones. I believe there's infographics. And in regards to this coming August, when we hope to make it as big as we can again, recently, because of the Ice Bucket Challenge, for the first time ever in the ALS community, there was collaboration for a cure. ALS organization, a lot of nonprofits, they usually work on their own, for their own cause, their own path, and I get that, but we need teamwork to beat this thing. It's not easy. So since the Ice Bucket Challenge, we had the collaboration for a cure, which brought the 18 major ALS organizations together, and we're all going to work on the Ice Bucket Challenge together. I'm pretty involved with all the planning, and I guess I'm giving the patient perspective, keeping them from trying to make it too corporate, because everyone knows last year was very organic and had a real feel for the patient, and the vibe of the whole Ice Bucket Challenge was so organic that people were inspired by it. If you have companies doing it first, it'll just throw it off. So I'm really excited to be involved and to hopefully keep this thing going. But I rambled there. But they're going to have a microsite that will have a link. Hopefully most people will be able to use that. We'll have all the organizations listed with what they do, and then you could decide specifically where your donation can go.
Perfect. Thank you.
So the Ice Bucket Challenge, I know last year you mentioned Bill Gates made a machine, which led to a lot of people that kind of get inspired to make almost art projects out of it. So even Dave Grohl, he did the Carrie video, which was really fun. Is there any of those that you really enjoyed, that you were really impressed that someone went through that much trouble to be wow, they made an art piece out of raising awareness for ALS?
I mean, it started real simple with the bucket, and then people slowly.
By week 4, it was.
People are using bulldozers, and I had a friend jump in the bucket, which was completely ridiculous. I mean, it just kept getting bigger and bigger. I forgot the hockey player's name, but he had the bucket drop from a helicopter. Yep. I mean, it probably cost him more to do it than the donation, but it created awareness. Yep. And I mean, either way, you're helping us, and we appreciate that. But I missed the last gentleman's second question because it just clicked that our goal is, if you did it last year, do it different. Try and mix it up a little bit, do a little better, do a little bigger. And we found out in the data that a lot of people didn't do it. So we're going to try and engage people that didn't do it to be challenged by me, be challenged by Pete, be challenged by someone in your community that has ALS, and just go out and do it for them. I mean, you have nothing to lose but support of a person that's struggling in a cause that so desperately needs your support.
Well, Pete, I hope you'll challenge me. I'm sorry, Pat, I hope you'll challenge me.
I'll come down here and do it with you.
All right. We'll have you on back in August.
Hey, Pat, thanks for being here. So you talk a lot about being a voice for the ALS community and for raising awareness about ALS. How much time and energy do you put into connecting with other patients, ALS patients, one-on-one, kind of like Pete provided that support to you initially? Can you just kind of talk about that?
Yeah, I appreciate that question, because what he did for me, I want to do for anyone who pretty much seeks it out. I met with a lot of patients, old, young, local, on Facebook. People message me all the time, and I hope I got back to most of you. I'm out there, and I feel, like I mentioned before, I have a progression that's going to allow me to be vocal for a long time and hopefully inspire a lot of people to get out there, not just patients, but family, friends, and keep this thing going. The momentum created last summer can't be something that we ignore. We have to keep building on it, and by inspiring other patients, or maybe not, just telling them I'm there. Give me a message, shoot me a message. I'll tell you how I'm feeling. You tell me how you're feeling. How can I help you? I could tell you what my experience is, and hopefully we can relate it a little bit, because it is an orphan disease, which not many people get here. So you're not going to just walk down the street and find someone to talk about it. You have to go out and look for them, like I did with Pete, and many people have done for me, which I appreciate. And it's amazing what the internet and Facebook and stuff could do, because we've really got out there. We've connected with a lot of people, and it's just a very tough disease. There's no treatment, there's no cure, there's no they can't tell me why I got it, which is crazy. At least tell me what I did, But that also hurts advice you could give. You really can't give much. You can give a recommendation. Like, I go to physical therapy once a week. I go to PT, OT, trainers, get stretched out, because I can't move my arms. I need someone to help me with that, or they'll get locked up. So there's small vitamin regimens that I could recommend that I do often. I was pretty militant early on, but my swallowing's got a little more difficult, so some pills are enormous and it's just not worth dealing with anymore. But like I said, there's very little options, so I think the patient-to-patient connection is where the value is, not so much advice.
Thanks.
Well, Pat, one more?
Thanks for being here. If we want to help, how can we help you beside doing the Ice Bucket Challenge?
Me? Or no, I'm just kidding. There's many ways. The ALS Association does walks. There's coin toss events for TDI, which is a research place. If you go on Google,
Thank you.
there's stuff out there. I mean, you could look into your local community. An ALS patient needs your help. I'm very lucky. I got married after diagnosis. I have a great wife. My dad's here. My mom's been great. I have family and friends like most patients don't. So I'm lucky in that regard. But there's older people that get this disease that have nothing. And I mean, even a conversation would probably help their day. There's little things on that level, or running fundraisers to advance research. If you look into that, there's Project ALS in Manhattan here that I'm sure would love to hear from you. If I got your email, I could probably bombard you with a bunch of stuff, but it's out there. You can find it.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Pat. I am a big believer in that the mantra that we spend the first half of our lives trying to be successful and the second half trying to be significant. You were doing both. It's an honor to have you here. Would you like to leave us with anything else?
Sure. What I have isn't easy. Gets tougher and tougher as the road goes, but I like to think everyone faces adversity at some point or another in their life, and the way you face that challenge or that adversity is how you'll be remembered. It'll create a legacy in a way, and I'm trying to do that now by inspiring people and fighting every day. And like I said, you will face adversity if you haven't. Life ain't easy. It's difficult. But as another inspiration of mine, Steve Gleason, would say, awesome ain't easy. And we're going to keep being awesome until we figure this thing out.
Pat, thank you for being here with us today.